Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another bonus episode of Hip Hop Now Podcast. I am your host, Vegas of Hip Hop Now Podcast, and it's a very special and sometimes rare occasion in hip hop where we got to pop out, every now and again and throw up the hip hop bat signal. So y'all know when I throw up the signal, it's like, nah, y'all gonna get to know. The homie I gotta be here because me and him like this the whole time, like, yo, you heard what the yo. So joining me on this episode, once again, is the homie Ak. What's good, brother?
Man, everything good, man. Everything good. Just like how you said, man. Sometimes, like with certain people, certain music, them people just emerge, like
Right.
the dudes with the old stocking caps and the stunner shades, they just emerge from the background. Like, yo, we back out, we back outside, we good. Like, yeah. So I'm happy to be here, man, for sure.
Yeah, man. And really quick business for y'all, you know what I'm saying? Again, a couple of weeks ago, we were trying to hit, or a month ago maybe, we were trying to hit 500 subscribers. We reached that goal with your help. Greatly appreciated. I'm gonna keep saying it on every episode. So obviously the goal is to get to 1,000. For those who don't know why YouTubers say stuff like this, or not subscribers, but content creators talk about these things specifically with YouTube, is because it gets your content in front of people who would prefer to watch it, right? Like the target audience. It's a grind when you're under 500. It's another grind when you're under 1,000, and it keeps going and going. But reaching 500 put the podcast in front of those who search YouTube, right? You might be browsing through and like, oh, it puts it on your homepage if you like a lot of hip hop or whatever, and it puts it in searches, right? As far as I know I said that, but as far as the algorithm of, maybe you're looking for a hip hop podcast. So now my podcast will pop up as a result of people subscribing. As before, it really wouldn't, right? You would really have to find down to Hip Hop Now Podcast Vegas, the name of the episode. You would really have to get very detailed in order to find it. So now it makes it easier to find. And, whether you're here because of shorts, the weekly show, or specials like this is greatly appreciated. But also remember, I read my stats. More than 50% of the people who watch, who even comment or respond, are not subscribed. So if you like these shows and these episodes enough to comment, to hit a like button, to go and tell your peeps about it, subscribe because it helps the channel out. You can pop in whenever you want. The content will be here. And also for those who are like, yeah, but I be wanting to watch when I'm at work, there's an audio version. It's been in play forever. So whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, you can subscribe to the content. And every now and again, like we said earlier, we got to pop out and do some more content. We put out a couple of videos this week, and now the boogeyman is back outside. Batman is back outside and is very interesting. So those who don't know and can't tell by the title, the video in the background, Kendrick Lamar dropped an album. Now we knew an album was coming. We just don't know when. Like we didn't know, like, oh, around the Super Bowl maybe, or maybe Christmas or Black Friday. Nah, Kendrick says, I'm going to pop out when you don't think I'm coming out. Okay. Like he did with all the other stuff like Euphoria and all the, go Kendrick dropped again. It's kind of become a theme. And I think I saw it on Blue Sky. I was on the timeline and the dude was like, yo, Kendrick just dropped. So I'm not the type to just believe some random dude on my timeline, no disrespect. So I just went to Spotify, and right there at the top, GNX, Kendrick Lamar's brand new album, just released, 12 songs, 44 minutes and 20 seconds of content, a number of features, especially on the West Coast. And I instantly hit up the homie Ock and a couple of other people and said, yo, this dude just dropped an album. He just dropped an album. Ock, when you got the text, when you laid eyes on the, oh yeah, it's an album. It's not AI. It's not this or that. What were your thoughts? Because you were working, right?
I was at work, man. But I thankfully, when you text me, I was going on my lunch break, 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? And you know, when I seen the text, it was just like sugar honey iced tea. Like, oh, like yo, okay, we back on, we back out. You know, so I clicked the link that you sent and the snippet for what is that? The first track. Was that
Blacked Out
Blacked Out
Morals.
Morals?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that started playing, but it started playing like right on the most controversial part. Like that was something too. So I'm like, yo, hold up. Like I want the real experience. Like I want to hear it from beginning to end. So then I went to YouTube, and YouTube, like the arrangement wasn't right because I'm looking at what you sent and I'm looking at what's on you. I'm like, yo, the arrangement. I'm like, nah. I ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? And so I went to iTunes or music, Apple Music. My bad, older brother here, you know, Apple Music, you know, and I saw, you know, and I hit the purchase button, man. Let's go. You know what I mean? Hit the purchase button and press play to get the full experience. And thankfully it was on my break, so I got to hear everything. And then I had to go back to work. So it's like couldn't really like absorb it like that. But I got enough to hear what was going on, listen to the whole album, but like to get my run back, because you got to run things back. Like I couldn't really get the run backs.
Yeah, I feel you. Like for me, my experience was like, you know, at first, you know, it was confirmation, right? Like, is this it? And Kendrick was on Blue Sky already. That was one thing that kind of, I think, tipped some of us off that what is he about to do? You know, is he moving? Because he's not going to say he's moving from Twitter to Blue Sky, but or is they just finding a spot in a way that, you know, like Chuck D and De La Soul and all these other people did. So it was kind of like a flag. And when I checked his Blue Sky, it was like it was right there. It was like maybe the only post. So you know, once I just knew like, okay, this is the album. This ain't no AI. This ain't no Lucy's. I just went ahead and was like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Sony M4s, they don't sponsor anything. Got the proper bass, will absorb all the quality, you know, whatever they doing with mixing and mastering. Put this on, put the Call of Duty Black Ops on, and just went in. And I ain't gonna front. A couple times I was like, man, fuck the controller. Like, let me hold on. What'd he say? Like, you know what I'm saying? What'd he say right there? With the rewind factor. And I wound up listening to it 3 times in a row. Now, typically, I don't do that. Like, you know, I'll be in the gym and I'll listen to the album, and then maybe I get home and I listen, and then because I know I'm going to do, you know, the show, I'll do that like confirmation listen, like did I think it was good or bad kind of listen. But I just with Kendrick, if you don't know and you're watching this, with Kendrick Lamar specifically, I said this when I did a little short like reaction video today that's on the on this channel, that Kendrick can sometimes, if you're not paying close attention, can just sound like he's just rapping. Like it's just words and he's just rapping. But if you don't know what he's talking about, then that's when it could sound like that. But if you catch one thing, then all of a sudden it's like a domino effect. It's like the verse opens up once you catch the one thing, like, oh, that's what this is about. So then you want to rewind, and then everything that sounds so normal, run of the mill words and rhymes, all of a sudden becomes this metaphor for something much deeper than you thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? Like we did with 616, like that title alone is like, yo, it's Tupac's birthday and it's Father's Day, and that's when Kendrick woke up, and like it was all these Easter eggs, and yeah, it just was one of those things where I kind of wanted to absorb what the album was and what it was about. So when you gave it that first listen, especially when you went back and listened, what was like your overall impression of this album? Because we say that like Kendrick has no L's in his catalog, and here's an album coming off of a battle that we assume has a concept, because he never puts anything out without a concept. What did you think about the album initially, just running through the tracks, and then once you got to really dig in, what were your thoughts after, or were they the same?
Oh yeah, I thought that this was Pop Out the album. You know what I'm saying? This sound like what was going on that stage. This sound like just unadulterated West Coast, but you know the new millennium. This is what we sound like today. This is what it is today, and you know, with that passion, that aggression. Well, let me not say aggression. The competitive,
Right?
You know, that competitive approach that we saw at the Pop Out, and then when we got towards the middle, when the other West Coast brothers started popping out, it's like, oh yeah, oh, so we doing this is what's going on. Like, oh,
Right.
we really at the Pop Out. Like, yeah, so that whole yo, you know, and you know, this comes from the other the blogger, you know, the blogger or some, you know, like Drake fans or whatnot. Like, yo, he ain't gonna show love to none of them people that was on stage, and you ain't never gonna hear from them again. Well, you can stop saying that now. Like, that didn't age well, because here you go. You know what I'm saying? In full effect, unadulterated, unapologetic, you know. To me, yeah, it's like Pop Out the album. You know, and folks, I've been hearing some takes about it, like, yo, you know, this don't really have like a concept to it, and but that wasn't my initial thought. I just thought that this was Pop Out the album. That was the concept.
Yeah, because when you pointed that out, like at first, you know, on the first listen for me, you know, it's more so you listen to the beats, the different flows, the approaches. You're trying to catch bars here and there, but everything's so new. You're just trying to navigate through the album on that first listen, especially when there's so much hype behind it because it just dropped. I'm reading social media, everybody going crazy. You know, people are posting ads there, listening to it, so they'll put a thought out there about a song, and yo, this might be my favorite, and blah blah blah. So I was kind of like scatterbrained with it the first time, and the second time, listening, looking at the cover, catching some of the themes, I was like, yeah, you're right. This is, first of all, this is like a straight up West Coast album, right? Like, we're gonna plant that flag. It's all West Coast, but it's like he's also leaning heavy in the hip hop category.
Yes, sir. Yes,
It's like
sir. For sure.
underlying like thing there with the, not just the whole big three and goat thing, even though there's, you know, mentions of goats and stuff like that, but he's still stunting on that level, and name dropping here and there, whether it be positive or negative. But then, like you said, then I'm looking at all of it, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about all the diss tracks and everything he said and knows, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know if he already had this shit or he just said everything needs to capture everything I did from Euphoria. Like that was more so come outside and play, and then everything was strategic from Euphoria on.
Mm-hmm.
Which is incredible because, like, how do you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't predict. Well, then again, maybe you can because them light skinned dudes been throwing shots for a very long time, and you're throwing them at Batman, and Batman is like, oh no, I've been had a plan for all of y'all. I've been had it for all of y'all, but I agree. I was listening and I was like, yeah, this is like every time we fall back and it happened, he just restarts that engine of how it started all over again. And I think, in a lot of ways, it just makes it even more exciting to check out. Now, real quick, for those who don't know, right? We said it's 12 songs on here. And if you know Kendrick Lamar, the Easter eggs are not only in the lyrics, they're in the cover, they in the car, right? That he got there, which is the what is that? The Buick. What is it called? Damn, now I forgot it. Grand National something. I don't think it's Experience. It's Grand National something. It's the name of the type of car that was produced in 1987, and it was probably a popular West Coast whip at one time. I believe that's the connection also. I'm pretty sure there's way more to that, but those are the surface things that have kind of come up. But also, on the album, the Not Like Us video, the tease that we got in the front that everybody was like, what's that? Well, that is the second song on the album called Squabbled Up. And man, hearing it by itself is just like, yeah, it's everything we kind of thought it was.
Yeah, that's my favorite track, man.
Word, Squabble Up?
Squabble Up, man. That joint, it made me feel like a kid again, man. Maybe took me back to being a child when the Debbie Deb sample, drops, for the chorus. It's like, I hit the music joint, like, that is like the little kid dancing at the cookout, like, you know what I mean? You're trying to do the hip hop dance at the cookout, like, I was just like, wow, like, yeah. So that's my favorite song on the album.
And for those watching, obviously we're gonna get into the records. I just wanted to point that one out because that was like the first thing we heard from this album. He also released a video that you see in the background with a song that's not on the album.
Yeah, about that.
Which is, again, Batman being Batman. He's just like, yeah. Oh, this? Well, I don't know. Here's an album. We're gonna be around the Utah, the chestnuts roasting on the fire. He gonna be like, pop out again.
Pop out again.
Right. Like, oh, it's a double album. I didn't tell y'all that. Is the rest of it. But also before we get into the tracks, one other song I just want to shed some light on. The Heart Part 6.
Let's go, man.
I did not even listen to it yet, but when I saw it there, I was like, oh, so he's not even going to try to change it. He's just going to say, nah, I do the Heart Part 6, not that dude. Talk about the fact that Kendrick, for those who don't know, because I know it was Wipeout season when you heard Not Like Us, so you don't even think Drake responded to that, but he did with a song called The Heart Part 6. Now, it didn't catch any wind because Not Like Us was already a smash when it dropped, but also Drake was sounding all defeated at the end, and honestly, he kind of teased his album at the end of that song as well, saying, "You probably got it out. I know you about to drop," and all sad shit. But when you heard, because you heard it before me, when you heard the Heart Part 6, what was your thought, given the fact that this is a part of a stellar series of songs for Kendrick?
Oh, that it was absolutely what it needed to be. It's absolutely what it needed to be. I was not expecting the SWV sample. I wasn't expecting that. And yeah, so I said Squabble Up made me feel like a kid, a little kid. The Heart Part 6 took me back to feeling like a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, he's talking about, first of all, the SWV sample. Then he's talking about how, you know, TDE, how they first met, and the brothers is huddled up in the studio, and how he's just like, you know, the little dude behind J Rock. And it's like, yo, if J Rock get on, yo, that would have been good enough for me. You know, yo, great, great, great part of the series. Because it's his series. So great part of the series. And it's like, yo, what Drake track? What? Delete the track, yo.
Right.
Yo, delete the track. It don't exist no more. Like that, it's like, what's that? Like the only reason to keep it around is just to see how dirty you got done over. Like, that's the only reason it need to exist. Otherwise, delete the track, yo. Like, and that's what I thought was so great. It's like, yo, Kendrick don't have to tell you, oh yeah, you're gonna have to go ahead and delete that. No, I'm gonna go ahead and do what I do. I'm gonna do my do, and it's really nothing else to talk about. It's what track? What this is the Heart Part 6. Like, I don't know what he talking about over there. Like, that's what this is. That's what that did. Like, huh? Like, yeah, man. It's great job, man. Great work. Great work.
Yeah, I had to hold my patience in order. Looking at that title as I went through the album, knowing there was some shit there for sure.
Oh, for real?
I guarantee, like all the other songs, I didn't know what to expect, but there I was like, damn. When I get to Hard Part 6, that might be the one, but it exceeded my expectations because, like you said, he's already told a coming of age tale of himself so many times, but never in this way, never this intimate, never in a way that answered a lot of questions about him with TDE, leaving TDE, how they began, his feelings, and his feelings were pretty honest, like you said, being content with J Rock getting on, or being excited to be a part of a label meeting. You know what I'm saying? Where, you know, now, I mean, he has his own thing, but, you know, there's probably most artists that probably relate to sometimes not wanting to be a part of those things. But, you know, it was his excitement of getting on and now's the time to shine kind of thing. And like you said, the SWV sample, I love that record. I just heard it the other day, like, damn, I need to run that back. This dude puts it on an album. It's like, oh man, like it's crazy. But let's get into the tracks on the album, starting with the number one song. The first thing you hear when you press play is called Whacked Out Murals. When I saw Whacked Out, I was like, oh no, he's killing them again. Like, let me press play. Because I knew there was something there, but not what I expected, you know, not what I expected. And some of it I did not catch until after the fact, to be honest. I like on a, you know, like a run back, certain lines. Kendrick decides to pull Lil Wayne out the rehab and smack him around a little bit and then put him back. Loosely.
Real subtle too.
Subtle, professionally, Lil Wayne. And point out the elephant in the room. No beef. It's just, let's read the bars. Used to bump the Carter 3. I held my Rolly chain proud. Irony. I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. All right, when you heard them bars, what did you think about Kendrick addressing the whole Super Bowl fiasco or halftime show fiasco?
It's needed. My thought was I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Lil Wayne, you can get some of this work too. And listen, it's gonna be that will definitely cause like a divide and civil war and hip hop. But look, man, just we gotta stay sucker free, man. We gotta stop with this, you know what I mean? Like I just don't like how that went down, how that was how they tried to carry yo. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, and that is a theme throughout the album. Like, yo, the brother worked to get there. Like, he ain't just
Right.
that wasn't it wasn't no nepotism. It wasn't a gimme. Like, yo, he worked for that spot.
Right.
And for Wayne to do all that crying, it's like, yeah, yo, you need some straightening, yo. You need some straightening, yo. You gotta straighten up, yo. Or sit down or something like, yeah, we need an intervention, something like what we gotta do. Like, yo, like you feel that strongly, where the work at? Where's the work? Like even with the clip that we see online of him talking to YG, and he said, I just gotta work hard and I gotta make it undeniable. Where was that? Okay, you said that. Back then, where is it at? What happened? And this was before this brother even got chosen. Where's the undeniable work?
Right.
So come on, man. Like so I was all for it, go ahead, tap him on the chin, see what you want to do. Like I got work for you too if you want. That's how I took it. Some people might not look at it that way, what I mean? But it was a little warning, like, yo, hey, I thought I because the lines after it, I don't know them exactly.
I have them here.
Oh, okay. He said something about that turned me to an Eskimo or something, but go ahead.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so used to bump the Carter 3. I held my Rolly chain proud. Irony. I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. Whatever though, call me crazy, everybody questionable. Turn me to an Eskimo. I drew the line in decimals.
Yeah. I drew the line, turned me to an Eskimo. Oh, now I know where I stand as far as compete. You have now put yourself, you have identified yourself as a clear competitor now. Like first it was pay homage. Of course, I ain't gonna, be whack on the track and try and let nobody outrhyme me, but it's, I guess friendly or respectful. But now, like, yeah, draw the line. Like, yo, that's how you feel. You just, and the thing is, it goes in line with the theme, whacked out murals. Like it's a overall theme. Like they were doing that to yo's murals in LA, but it's like Wayne, you was doing that at the same time. Like you just gonna X out my legacy because you and your feelings about you not getting picked. You just gonna overlook my work and try to passive aggressively downplay me. And it's like, yeah, yo, that ain't right. That it deserves retaliation. It deserves some get back, a response or something. Maybe you ain't got straight up bomb on them, but it on some man, like it needs to be addressed. Like, yo, what's that about?
Right. One dude on some YouTube channel, I think it was in the comments, said, well, we know one thing, K-Dot won't be bringing out Lil Wayne during that Super Bowl halftime show. which I thought he would, like, you know, it's all love. Nah, not Batman. Batman, like, what? I got you on the hit list.
You
And
go
for
in the
those
contingency plan book.
right,
You go in the prep book. I got
right,
something for you. You
right,
want to take them dreads out here? I got something for you.
right, like next phase. And look, for those who are watching who or listening, uh, like, you know, don't really know the details and you know, wonder why it's not like what we're displaying right now isn't a Lil Wayne versus Kendrick just off of what you prefer, right? Like, not a preference thing. It's what happened. Kendrick was announced as the headliner for the Super Bowl halftime show that's happening in February of 2025. Lil Wayne and Cash Money and Manny Fresh and all these cats, Master P, all came out making videos, tweeting all kinds of stuff, saying that, you know, Lil Wayne was snubbed and, you know, Jay-Z is trying to get back and all these different things, right? It was really about, you know, Lil Wayne should have gotten it. And then Lil Wayne puts out a sappy video like he's dehydrated because of the situation and saying, you know, he worked hard, he worked his ass off for it, which I was just trying to say, like, what was that? You didn't put an album out. I don't know. Maybe it was a business thing, or maybe he worked hard on sobriety. I don't know. Maybe it's that because
Man,
because because truth be told, right? We see what we see. We know what we know.
yeah,
As a businessman,
yeah,
which I saw at the New Orleans Louisiana thing,
yeah.
you do not want to put somebody out on stage if you know there's some kind of pre-existing thing there. And there's footage, Essence Fest, of situations where Lil Wayne just doesn't look WrestleMania, where he just didn't look like even a Lil Wayne that was dope on stage. Forget being better and stuff like that. So I wonder if it was all, not saying it's that, but I wonder about things like that because nobody's ever going to say that. But we know, we see everybody in the comments say it. It's just on a business level, they're not going to say it. And he look it. But I just didn't like the way he was saying how he worked his ass off. But there was nothing that us, the fans, could see. We saw what Kendrick was doing. See what he's doing now. It's perfect for the Super Bowl. But the other thing, ladies and gentlemen, is when he did do the Louisiana festival, he didn't look that great performing. He wasn't the worst in the world, but it wasn't. That's not something you want to see at the Super Bowl. It has to be clean and has to be like entertaining beyond the songs, which is what Kendrick does. But also, he said it was taken from him. And he never congratulated Kendrick in one instance, nothing. He never really acknowledged it. He just kind of went with the energy now. Juvenile and Manny Fresh and all of them, at least they came up to the fence with some of it to say, to acknowledge, but it was after the fact, after you know, basically threw fits. So for Kendrick to have a line that says, I rocked with you, but you don't want to acknowledge my work and you want to make it seem as if I took something from you, so to speak. Well, you know, sorry, my hard work let you down. You know what I'm saying? And he also said, won the Super Bowl, and Nas the only one that congratulated me. All these niggas agitated. I'm just glad they showed their faces, quite frankly. Plenty artists, but what is it? Plenty artists, but they outdated. Old ass flows trying to convince me that you they favorite. This is not for lyricists. I swear it's not the sentiments. F a double entendre. I want y'all to feel this ish. Now, I remember that. Now, I didn't know Nas was the only one, but I remember seeing Nas's posts. What do you think about that as far as the stuff he's saying about Lil Wayne, the Super Bowl, he addressing that, but also it felt like he was taking it beyond Lil Wayne by saying Nas the only one that really showed love. And then he's saying old ass flows and outdated. Who he talking about? Like,
I thought he was talking about Wayne, but I might be reaching. But he might be talking about everybody that was like complaining. He might be talking about Mace. He might be talking about Cam. He might be talking about Juvie. You know what I mean? Like all these the veterans, that again you would think would be happy, like Biggie say, hip hop that made it this far. You would think it would be that, but nah, because it ain't the dude that I don't know. I guess the dude that you was rooting for, like then we're gonna do this whole again passive aggressive. And I mean, to Cam said, I think he said, no disrespect or whatever, but it should have been Wayne. But it's like, yo, man, I vehemently disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? Because this ain't no gimmies. It's no gimmies in this. It's no gimmies. It's business. Where is the work right now? The work right now. And then, okay, you can look to older Super Bowls and you can say, well, Prince didn't have anything at the time, but look what he did when he actually went on there. So nothing was questionable. But if we look at, and we I don't want to keep this about Wayne, but if we look at Wayne's recent work, it's questionable. So how you just think, oh yeah, you didn't give it to Wayne? No, we didn't. Why should we? Because of 20 years ago? Like as a performer, like point to something that should say, yeah, absolutely. Like he gonna get on there and he gonna give a great performance. Show me that in the last 3 years. Like if you can't show me that, then what are you talking about? Like it could be a liability. Now,
right.
You brought up a good point. Like work hard to, I guess, sober up and clean up. I mean,
he got the hits to do the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me. He has the hits to do it.
Right.
He can even clean it up, even though those hits could be questionable as far as like the subject matter. He has enough and where he can clean it up and edit himself. But that's the thing. Like when we talk about work as an MC, as a performer, can you do that?
Right.
And I think the answer is no. I think you're just going to get up there and do you like what we've seen you do in these other performances.
Right.
Where we've seen this dude right here, I mean, mid verse, stumble, but get you like a freestyle just so he could get back on point to continue the rest of the song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like as people that are like maybe like MCs or used to rap, you could tell that, oh yeah, he flubbed that a little bit, but he got back on. But like to the uninitiated, to people that ain't looking into it that deep, they he gave like an exclusive bar that we never seen before, like we never heard before.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's like showing off true MCing, performing, and yeah, Wayne within the past 3 years, come on, man. It's just it's ridiculous. I think the way that the brother handled it on Whacked Out Murals was a good way, a great way to handle it. And it's other layers to this. Like, I don't know if it's just me, if I'm reaching, but even with that beat, it's like, and throughout the album, because we talked about this, or you pointed this out, there is a air of homage too, of paying homage throughout this album and I thought even on this whacked out murals, this was the beat, the bass line sounds like Friends. Doom, doom, doom. It's slower, you know, but it sounds like Friends, which was used by Houdini Friends. That's what I'm referring to, audience. Houdini Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. And then Nas used it. If I ruled the world, doom, doom, doom. And then also, as a bonus, I don't think this was official anywhere. I think this was only like freestyles and mixtapes. Tupac, Troublesome. The Troublesome. Da, 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 like, so, but this was like slower. So I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it too deep. Maybe my hip hop crates is too deep for people. But I'm like, yo, all that was like within this track, and then yo just bombing out. And then he mentioned like, yo, Nas the only one that showed me love. And then later on, you hear the you know what I'm saying?
We gonna get to it. There's a couple of instances of that you know, like I said, didn't stand out. But the more you listen, you're like, is he doing what I think he's doing? Like on another layer, and then it makes you want to look at those records and how it connects to the overall picture here, because you know, he didn't just have smoke for Lil Wayne, and I felt the need that we needed to really talk about it, because this is Kendrick Lamar's response to a number of things that happened where he didn't say nothing the entire time. All these people, you know, yo, Wayne should have got it, blah, blah, blah. So even though he had addressed it in a couple of lines, we need to talk about it. But also, the last thing he addressed before we move on, Snoop. Now, I didn't hear this the first time. He said in the same song, Snoop posted Tailor Made, which was Drake's diss record that eventually was pulled because of Tupac's estate, where Drake used he used Tupac's voice on AI and Snoop's voice using AI to have them rap their disappointment for Kendrick. Now, just morally, Tupac is not here. Why are you doing that in a battle? You're telling the people this is what Tupac would think. I get what you were doing, but there was another way to do that. But here's Kendrick's response to that, because he never responded to it in this way on those songs, except for "Am I Battling Whatever" or AI. But he said, Snoop posted Tailor Made. I prayed it was the edibles. I couldn't believe it. It was only right for me to let it go. Now, at the same time, he's saying no big deal. He's also saying, I was just hoping he was high. Because why Snoop? He put the chain around my neck. I was crying on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He passed the torch. Why would he co-sign, of all records on Drake's side, this one?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he said he still let it go. But also, because you know the internet, the comment sections, the timelines, they like, oh, well, that's why Snoop wasn't at the pop out. They was like, oh, who at the door? Oh, it's Dre and Snoop. Dre.
Well, Snoop was on tour. Snoop was
that's
on
what he
tour.
said. Yeah, that's what he said.
But you know he responded though. Snoop responded. Yeah.
To this?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said it was the edibles. He's like, yo, King Kendrick, yo, West. He's good like, fire. He's like, yo, it was the edibles, my G. Good like,
look, Snoop's a grown man, and plus that song him and Dre got out right now is
bananas. Yeah, yo, you put me on to that. That joint is crazy.
That joint is crazy, but perfect answer. You know what I'm saying? For a situation like this, because he de-escalates anybody who wants to go and take that and ball it up and create it into something else. Like what I read on the timeline, like, oh, well, that's why Snoop wasn't at the pop out. But a hell of a way to start the album to address right up front everything y'all wanted to know what I thought about such and such. Here you go. And then it gets into Squabble Up, which I thought was really dope because after you get the listeners reeling from, what some would call a diss record, but I feel more like this is a little bit different than a diss record.
Mm-hmm.
You give them the reminder of the snippet that was there before Not Like Us with Squabble Up, which we talked about. Then you hit the third track, Luther. Now, I love the way they use Luther singing in this because it felt seamless. It almost, even though I know the song, it felt like he was brought in, and rest in peace. Luther Vandross is not alive, y'all. But it felt like it wasn't just plucked from a song. It felt like a natural part of this record. And I believe SZA's singing on this record, I think.
Yeah, sound like it. Yeah.
But a very dope record and a change of pace, as far as the album, the sound, even if you want to say radio play, kind of opened it up for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you go back to some of the reception behind Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, they're just people who just want, that new thing to get dressed to before they go out, or the joint in the car. They don't really want to talk about the inner feelings and, and stuff like that. But here's Kendrick giving them that. Now, let's just get into the other song, though, Man in the Garden. Ak made me go back because I was just going through the album and Ak was like, yo, that third verse, Man at the Garden, I'm sorry. Ak, what are your thoughts on this track in general, and in that third verse specifically?
Yeah, man, that was that was like the paying homage to Nas, man. The one mic, and then that whole dart at the end of how you think you deserve to be called the greatest. I think that's the line. And he ends it on that on that line. So it's like he paying homage to one of the greats with Nas, and then at the same time he's staking his claim like, yo, I'm in that conversation too. And then we can't forget these other dudes like, yo, how you even think you like, yo, how do they even think they could deserve? They ain't rapping like this. It's like, it's layers. Like, yo, you hear how I'm rapping, and if you know your hip hop, you know what this is influenced by. One of the greats, and how he kicked it off.
Right.
And so I'm right in line with that. I'm lockstep with that. How are you even gonna even think about these other dudes? Like, are you serious? Like, and it's crazy. Like, I seen a take, and I just have to mention it. But that was one of the negatives. That was, I guess, one of the complaints about the album. Like, people were saying, things were derivative, and I don't know how I really feel about that he did that. Like, that's Nas one mic, so now, okay, you gonna do it? And it's like, I just, my initial thought was like, yo, it's hip hop. Like, I get what he's doing, and then in the first song, he shouted him out. Like, did we not just hear him shout him out? So, I don't want to get into other people's takes and all of that, but it's like, I don't understand what people be with listening. What is this? Like, what are people doing? Like, the Nas, like, that's derivative. I don't really know how I feel about that. The SWV, you gonna use that? It's like, you got so many resources at your disposal. Why would you do that? I would think you would do something else. Why? But it's like, yo, we this is hip hop. We sample. What is going on here? What is it? And these be like intellectual dudes. Like, or supposed to be hip hop intellectuals, and it's like, what is this? Like, I don't understand. Like, I get it with style. Like, if you don't like stylistically, but some of these things are like hip hop things. This is very hip hop. It's very, very hip hop. Like, yo, I'm rapping. I'm giving my compassion as far as my delivery. What I'm talking about is being one of the greats, and I'm explaining you or arguing my case why I deserve to be in that spot. And sure, did I borrow from Nas for this particular song? Sure, yeah. But again, I just yo, this was the only dude that gave me my props for where I'm at today, or as far as my next moves. So how is that like out of bounds? Like, and
yeah,
I might have just derailed our convo with that, but
no, I get it, because it's a deeper conversation when it comes to like all these reactions and all the content creators that go online that react live, and like I said earlier, people who are listening and tweeting while they're listening, and there's a culture of at least was trying to be the first to respond or to point out something that everybody else didn't catch, right? And to critique it in a way as if you would have, because you make beats or you understand music, there was a better way to do that, you know what I'm saying, than that way. And it seems stupid because Kendrick doesn't do anything in one song. It's all tied together. It's always all tied together. Like he said, he makes a point to say Nas was the only one who shouted me out. And I saw somebody say, one dude, because he was shooting from the hip, responded, reacting to this album, saying like, yeah, we ain't say Jay-Z, but the thing is like Jay-Z already congratulated him for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was the statement. The statement got released.
Right. But again, he's a part of the process. So when they brought K Dot in, blah 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 blah, Hove is a part. Either he's in the room or he makes the call. We already know Jay-Z has signed off because Kendrick's going to be on the stage. So it just seemed weird for this dude who I was watching to shoot from the hip without realizing like Jay-Z has the deal to do these things.
Yeah, so he wants the album liner. He wants to, and don't forget Jay-Z. Like, yo, he the one that, like, yo, come on, yo.
No, stop. He wasn't even thinking about it. He's thinking like, well, K-Dot could be saying something about Jay-Z because he didn't congratulate Kendrick. And it's like, but he's a part of the deal making.
Yeah.
So I kind of just feel like when it comes to online, I'm just used to people not paying attention and then getting upset because they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? When you tell them, yo, it was because it seems so simple to get once somebody points it out to you, but now you're mad because you didn't catch it because you're the guru. But here's some of the lyrics from the third verse. I feel like I should start at the top just because it's so connected, but it's pretty quick. Put a smile on my mom. Hold on, let's just say this. Man at the Garden, for those who don't know. Put a smile on my mama, good health and good karma. Yeah, she deserves it all. 100 murals out in Compton. Remember me, I kept my promise. Yeah, we deserve it all. A better life for my daughter. May my son take it further than his father. Yeah, he deserves it all. A close relationship with God. Whisper to me every time I close my eyes. He say, you deserve it all. Keep these bitch niggas away from me. Keep all my blessings faithfully. Keep my essence contagious. That's okay with me. I burn this bitch down. Don't you play with me or stay with me. I'm crashing out right now. No one's safe with me. I did it with integrity and niggas still try to hate on me. Just wait and see. Now here's the part that Ak was talking about, the ending. More blood be spilling, it's just paint to me. Dangerously, nothing changed with me. Still got pain in me. Flip a coin. Want the shameless me or the famous me? How annoying does it anger me to know that lames can speak on the origins of the game I breathe? That's insane to me. It's important. I deserve it all because it's mine. Tell me why you think you deserve the greatest of all time, motherfucker. I'm saying, man,
You gonna just end it off with
when you read it, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not caught up in the beat and you're not caught up in the flow and you don't have to hit rewind. You can go to Genius because that's where I am right now, and you can read it. And just that ending says a lot. There's a lot you can pour into that from what you already know. And you mad about the sample, use your heart and not your mind. Like, it's the layers. It's not about, oh, that was a hit, I'm gonna use it. It's always the layers. As soon as you say use your heart, my bad, that's for the hard part 6. But
yeah.
again, use your heart, not your mind. It still connects.
Oh, that's what I thought you meant. Even
Right.
when listening to this, when listening,
it still all connects, but this being like one mic for some of the same reasons, some of the same themes that Nas had in his song. This is basically it. But what people got to get used to, especially the old heads, we came up using records and samples and stuff like that of a time before us. And that generation balked at hip hop because they like make your own. I'm a musician. Prince was like that, make the sound from scratch. Don't go and just take my joint and chop it up and say it's you. We do the same thing. We garden our music saying you can't use it and it's not creative, when all of it is a sample of a sample of a sample of a sample of a inspiration of an inspiration of an inspiration. And Nas's One Mic came out in 2001. How long does it have to be before anybody can reference some of these things? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So again, with when you messing with Kendrick, in a lot of ways you could spend a lot of time dissecting song by song, but we kind of wanted to point out those themes, especially the theme of that Ox said of paying homage, right? Like the first one is about friends and people he thought was cool and mentors and all that good stuff. And that's layered. That's not in your face. The track ain't called Friends. It's not the same beat. It's slowed down. But heads are like, wait a minute. How many of us had? Yo, that's such and such. You know what I'm saying? What I was doing, a Man at the Garden. I was like, yo, this is one mic. So let's get into the other song where I was like, nah. This one I was like, nah. He's rhyming like Pac.
Yeah. Over the Pac beat.
Over the Pac beat.
Yeah,
you know
what I'm saying? The Made Ninjas.
Yeah, and look, who else used them kinds of sounds? Nas back in them days, like in the 96, you know what I'm saying? What's the joint? I don't know if it made an album. Maybe not 96. Maybe I Am. Money Is My Bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like the straight vacation sounds and shit.
Vacation guitars.
Where you go get the coconut with the straw in it. You sit down with the Hawaiian shirt. But the song is called Reincarnated. Now, when you heard Reincarnated, obviously there's the beat, like as we mentioned, and the flow and the energy that reminds you of Pac. But he's saying a lot in this record. What did you think about this song?
Yeah, I gotta go back and listen. I still gotta go back and listen. I'm gone off of the flow and the beat, and I'm trying to. I know he's rapping from the perspective of different characters, and yeah, like I guess some of these other vloggers, they're a little, I guess, faster than me. but they're saying like, yo, he rapping from the perspective of God towards the end, and he talking to the devil, and I'm like, what? Like I didn't even hear that. I just heard junkies and stuff in the beginning. I'm like, well, who's this dope fiend that he talking about? I'm still trying to pick it apart. Like, well, who's that? I'm thinking because he's done something similar on other songs before, where he's rapped from the perspective of someone else. So I'm thinking like, yo, what is this like? Is he talking about Billie Holiday in the second verse? Like, that's what I thought, But other folks are saying, nah, like it's the devil, and I guess the devil got into those first two on the first verse, and then on the third verse is God and devil talking to I gotta go back and listen. Like it's bugged out. That's a bugged out track. The delivery, the beat, all of that is hot and all of that is sharp. But when we talking about the layers, I really got to go back and listen to really pick it apart for me to get that aha moment, because I didn't get that like immediately. Did you get it?
Nah, man. Off the first break, I knew he was doing something, but I wasn't catching everything. But I wasn't gonna like constantly rewind songs because I figured I'd be running it back. But then when I went back on further listens, then I got the God and the demon side of it.
Oh,
what I knew I was missing initially that I didn't necessarily hear in the beginning, but I'm like, it's called reincarnated. So I'm missing who he's describing in these verses. So when I went back, that's when I heard like the Billie Holiday stuff, where I was like, oh, this is Billie Holiday, right? The drug habits, vocalist, chicken circuit, right? Black woman. I'll read some of it for people. Another life had placed me as a black woman in the chitlin circuit, seductive vocalist as the promoter hit the curtains. My voice was angelic straight from heaven. The crowd sobbed. A musical genius, what the articles emphasized. Had everything I wanted, but I couldn't escape addiction. Heroin needles had me in fetal position, restricted, turned on my family. I went wherever cameras be, cocaine, no private planes for my insanity. Self-indulged, discipline, never my sentiments. I need drugs to me, and 8-ball was the penicillin. I'm not gonna read all of it, but at the end of the day, it's clearly Billie Holiday, or is it? No, it has to be Billie Holiday. Nah, because the chitlin circuit, it's like Billie Holiday was actually on that point.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Whitney kind of is some of the other stuff that's
crazy. But maybe that's that whole theme of reincarnated. That shit keep coming back around.
That's the theme. Like when you read the lyrics, because the third verse starts with "My present life is Kendrick Lamar." So it's almost like it's this soul that's jumping bodies, in the first, second, and then the third verse. But with Kendrick, it's more of a battle and it's more a discovery of what's going on. But you know what else it made me think of? And I don't think he going this deep because I don't remember any references towards it. Because he's just talking about being reincarnated into these different bodies. But it's a lot like the show from the, I think, late 80s, early 90s.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah. Like taking that, because for those who don't know, Quantum Leap, this one doctor and this other scientist from the future were jumping in. He was jumping in the bodies of people from the past to change things. The only way he can jump to hopefully jump home, but to jump to the next person was to try to change something for the better within a person. You know what I'm saying? Now, he could never fail, right? Because then, you're dead or lobotomized, whatever. But in this case, this is more so, it almost feels like someone who's talented but haunted by demons at the same time. And Kendrick has said that a lot lately about himself. You know what I'm saying? So when I heard it, like you said, initially, I didn't catch all of this, but now I'm like, wow, you mean to tell me I might have to just sit with a song and just wait till I get okay, I got it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then move on to the next one.
Right. Then we have a conversation like, yo, this is what it was. Like,
Right. Like, no, everything we said was wrong. He was talking about this. And you're like, what? Like,
crazy.
one of the other tracks I want to talk about, man, TV Off. When this came on, I was like, not like us. Like, it literally felt like DJ Mustard said, I'm just gonna remix Not Like Us, and we're gonna do a version that's not focused on him, but there are parts of the lyrics that you can tie to that dude and somebody else and whoever else you want to. I seen a lot of talk online of people loving this record. When you heard TV Off, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just thinking like, okay, he got it. He got another one. He got a he got another one, and then the whole mustard yelling mustard. I'm like, yeah, he want to make sure mustard gets his just due. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is cool. Like that's dope. Like you're not gonna forget his name. Like he is stapled in in hip hop for sure. He was in there, but now
Yeah, he in there now.
he's really etched in there now. Yeah, man, I thought it was a dope track. Um, you know, again, West Coast, but just upbeat. I like what he did with the horns.
Mhm.
I'm like, yo, are they attempting to get something together and ready for the Super Bowl? Like, are you gonna do this at the Super Bowl? Because I think in this track he's talking about New Orleans in this track. So I thought it was dope. You know what I mean? I
It
just
You're right, because I felt the same way when he said the last line of the song says, "Walk in New Orleans with the etiquette of LA yelling," and then he, hits the mustard. But I get the feeling he's gonna say mustard like that on stage, and then you're gonna hear burn it, and the white, because ain't nothing but white people at the Super Bowl anyway. They just gonna be like, hey, mustard on the beat, ho! Like, oh no, like it would.
oh no.
Obviously, I'm joking, but you just don't know what this guy.
It could happen.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
could.
And you know what made me think about that was when I heard this record, I wondered, okay, maybe this is it's not like us,
Mhm.
but it has a very similar vibe to Not Like Us, and it's like you said, Mustard's out front. Because even with Kendrick's lyrics on Not Like Us being so catchy, the way it starts is catchy to people who didn't even hear Mustard's drop before. You know what I'm saying? Because it's how the song kicks off. And I thought, like, well, maybe they can't do Not Like Us, or they don't want to do Not Like Us because of how long ago, but they could do something that kind of gives you that vibe. But was probably more interesting was how he started the third verse. Ain't no other kings in this rap thing. They siblings, nothing but my children. One shot, they
It disappeared.
disappearing. For those who don't know, that is Biggie bars from Kicking the Door. Notorious B.I.G. Now, we just said it. Big, Nas, Pac. You can throw Houdini in there too. That's kind of like a statement, it's feeling like. Would have
Yeah.
been Snoop if he wasn't off them edibles. He might have snuck a Snoop joint in there. But it's a statement of I'm a part of this realm of MCs in this game, you know. Uh, and I just found it kind of crazy that it caught me off guard to hear that because it
I
got my
did not expect that. Yeah.
right. Especially how he followed it up, right? Ain't no other kings in this rap thing. Their siblings, nothing but my children. One shot, they disappearing. I'm in the city where the flag be getting thrown like it was my past interference. I don't, man. I don't know, man. Like,
Yo, I got it in the thing, yo. Leave yo alone, yo. Leave him alone, yo. Leave yo alone, man. Like, and what he say on the other joint, like, yo, we could do. You want to flip the coin? Which one you want? Like,
when you want the shameless me or the famous me?
yeah, cause he about rapping, yo. He's about rapping, yo. I think this album definitely makes that clear. If people didn't understand it before, I hope they get it now. He's about rapping. He's about his West Coast. You know what I mean? It's not just weird voices. He got that too. You know what I mean? But it ain't just that. Like he's about rapping. I think this is like for those people who didn't see the like the Lil Wayne the video when he's Lil Wayne, you can't quit, and he's just like in the studio just saying Lil Wayne verses and stuff. Like he's got some of that energy on here, but Lil Wayne, but it ain't for you no more. Like, you know what? Let me get back to the legends then. Like,
Right.
Since you just showed, yeah, okay, that's cool. You
Right.
know, like hip hop revolves around you or something like, yo, you are not my only influence. Like, okay, it's crazy, man. It's wild, yo. It's a wild conversation to have and to think about. And I don't know, jealousy, I don't know, insecurities, complexes, but it's interesting to think about. And again, I just commend yo for just stand on your square and do work, man. Just do your work, yo.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you said that because I think like obviously we decided to do this as a reaction and kind of like a review of this album, mainly because of everything that's transpired this whole year with hip hop, but Kendrick Lamar specifically, and to like I don't want to say quote because I don't necessarily know the quote, but Kendrick has been very clear in the battle, starting with Not Like Us and throughout this album, that he does not care anymore. Like, he don't care. Like, yo, I'm in the crib, I'm quiet. Y'all may not like that I'm not outside a lot, but at the end of the day, this is what I do. And if y'all want to do something, do it. Y'all wanted me outside. Now I'm out here. This is how I'm outside. And I think it just, it's tough to talk around it when you're talking about his music because it's just embedded in what he's saying. And he's basically when they say when somebody tells you who they are, believe them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we can't not talk about how he's feeling about Lil Wayne and how he may have felt about Drake. And that other guy we're going to talk about real quick because this is supposed to be a good week for him. His whole rollout is like sideshow. Like I didn't forgot. Like, oh yeah, that's on streaming services now.
Yeah, damn, man.
The last one I wanted to mention though, just so we not like falling down on every song, is the final song, Gloria. Now, at first, I ain't gonna front. I got caught like doing something else while I was listening, and I go to look at the track, and I'm like, oh, it's like a story with a shorty and blah blah blah. And then at the end, he says, in his own way, "Ain't no bitch like my bitch, cause that bitch been my pen." And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Because I'm hearing everything else, and I'm like, oh wait. So I rewind back, and the first line is, "Me and my bitch got a complicated relationship." And then everything he said, I started to think about his pen. Everything was a metaphor for his pen on a song that I thought it was about somebody he knew. Like, oh, maybe he telling a story, about somebody he knew around the way. Let me listen. Nah, he keeping it hip hop again. Well, okay, let me just read a little bit just so people get a sense. Me and my bitch got a complicated relationship. She's so controlling. I notice it ain't no playing with. I met her when I was off the porch as a teenager, which most MCs, that's when they start. She said one day I would right my wrongs and see paper. Hold up. No, he didn't say right. Because the way it's spelled, whatever. We started out young, looking for some identity, made 1,000 mistakes, but never did we lack chemistry. Wrapping my hand around your waist, that was back when you did whatever I say, dreams of selling narcotics, running blocks, or robbing banks. I was in love with you, didn't know what it was with you. Kiss you in back of the class, kiss you in back of it. Yo, if y'all ain't never, like, again, I know there's some people be like, yo, these K-bots be going crazy over nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, if you ain't never wrote rhymes in class when you're supposed to be paying attention, that's what kiss you in the back. That's whatever. Kiss you in back of the class just to get a buzz with you. Some niggas wanted you, but they weren't committed, preoccupied playing John Madden and bullshitting. I'm just going to stop there. But again, this is what I was talking about early on with Kendrick. I just felt the need because the music was happening in my ears and I was doing things to kind of not pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I pop back in, I'm like, oh, it's about a shorty. I'm gonna have to run it back to hear the story from the beginning. And then I hear that the shorty is a pen, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. What did he say? And now all the lines turn into metaphors again for his commitment to hip hop. She just has a name called Gloria, but it's really more intimate than just Common doing hip hop. I used to love her. Or even though this wasn't about that, but he alluded to it with the Me and My Bitch start, which is Tupac, talking about his gun, Me and My Bitch. So it's one of those things where he's throwing in Easter eggs, he's giving you metaphors, he's reminding you of songs like I Used to Love Her, but it's still an intimate story like Man at the Garden. That's all his. It's about him and his pen specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop, where honestly, as an MC, you can be a little bit more original. When you heard this joint to like end off the album, not only what were your thoughts about this song, but once you came to the conclusion of the album, how did you feel after listening to it?
Yeah. So by the time it was the same thing. Like, I'm like, yo, I thought the song was dope. I had a feeling it was deeper than the surface level. And then when he said my pen at the end, I'm like, oh, yo, I felt like, yo, I gotta run it back and shit. Like, but it's like, to end it that way, he's talking about his skill. He's talking about what he brings to the culture. Right. And this is like, and I know they probably gonna call me K-Bot and all of this, and I'm taking it too far. But it's almost like, yo, on To Pimp a Butterfly, I Love Myself. It's like, once again, he's self-motivating even at the end. Like, yo, I love my pen, and I love what it brings to this culture. You know what I mean? He's devoted to it. So, great way to end the album. Great song. You know what I mean? Great way to end the album. And yeah, man. And overall, my thoughts are it's a great album, man. It's a great album. The only I got, reservations or questionable about the one song, the title track. You know what I mean? The GNX. And even with that, it's questionable. But at the same time, I respect it because this is giving the little homies some shine. Like, yo, let me get the homies from the city some shine, from Compton some shine.
Right.
So yeah, I might not agree with it, and it might get skipped. It might, if I'm close enough to the to where my listening apparatus, it might get skipped. But like if I'm cleaning up or something and it's just on, I'll let it rock. You know what I mean? Because that's the homies doing their thing. That's the pop out. Like they popping out. Like so, let them get some shine. But everything else, man, it is this man's testament to hip hop, how he feels right now about it. But then I think by the time we get to the end, like recentering himself, like, yo, well, I'm still devoted to this, and I'm in love with my pen, so I ain't leaving her. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm still devoted to it, and yeah, man, it's the most hip hop West Coast stripped down. I mean, there's some it gets like with Luther, it gets very lush. With Heart Part 6 gets very lush. And with Dodger Blue, it gets really, really lush, right? But everything else is just like, very hip hop. It's you can't confuse it. It's definitely some hip hop. You know what I mean? Now, is it rappity rapping and rapping? And I would say reincarnated is.
Right.
For sure. That's definitely some rappity rapping.
Right.
It's not like metaphors and well, the whole song is, but it's not like punchline.
Right.
But yeah, man, I think it's a great contribution to his catalog. I do have the sneaking suspicion that he might got another one in the kitty based on this playing in the background. Like that song is not on here. And we already got that with Squabble Up.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you setting this up again? Like you about to hit us with the one. Like I just have a sneaking suspicion. But if that's not the case, I think that this is, a great contribution to his catalog. But it is the most stripped down. It reminds me of what a little bit like Pusha T. Like Pusha T has like the stripped down, just hard beats, rapping. It does have a theme,
right?
But the theme is loose. You really pay attention and really pay attention to the bars and stuff. Okay, now you can get the theme. Whereas though, with Kendrick, he's got the theme layered and like with the skits, and then by the time you get to the end, it all builds together, and you're like, oh shit, like he was talking to Tupac the whole time, like you know what I mean? Like it's not that, and I think that was good. I think after this whole thing with Drake and just getting rid of him, you know what I mean, or getting him out of here as far as comparing to him. People comparing him to Kendrick, just ending that whole debate. Okay, now we're gonna get back to some music, but we're gonna have fun with it. But I'm gonna be extra competitive. He's gonna be extra competitive, but we're gonna have fun. Let's have fun. I'm gonna be extra West Coast with it and obnoxiously West Coast.
Yeah.
unapologetically West Coast.
You make a great point because like that was the one song on my first listen that I ran back immediately because I realized it was the last song and it had a concept. So I wanted to see, like, okay, well, he's just a deep thinker. So I'm thinking like it has to mean something greater for the album, this last song, and I didn't want to miss it. And it kind of does, like you said, the whole theme is like, the Pop Out album. And, well, what's the byproduct? Well, the Pop Out is a byproduct of the battle, right? And what's the battle about? It's about superior lyricists, superior rapping, no big threes, just big knees and stuff. So I think it ending being about his pen, which was the conversation the entire time. And the reason why Drake lost, because Kendrick wasn't just calculated when he dropped or what rumors came out. It was all strategic and like things he said, Easter eggs that were there. Like you said, Not Like Us finally has a video. We all press play and we hear a different song first. And everybody, you can go back and look at the reactions. Everybody's reactions like, oh, what's this? Like, when you're doing that from layers of, as far as like, again, like your rollout, you're being strategic, your lyrics, you're being strategic, the videos, you're being strategic, even this video, because, I don't know what the Beat Me Up Scotty to another Kendrick upstairs.
Oh,
The way he get down, I'm like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the first video from this album officially? And what does it mean for him to pull up in the whip and look up there? You know what I'm saying? And one of the songs he's saying that car was a car he always wanted, kind of thing. So it's what I enjoyed about it was the fact that Kendrick is good money if you're a fan. This man doesn't have a bad project at all. Whether it stops here or another one comes out, you may have ones you prefer more than others, but there's some of our favorites where we just like this one album they dropped was not it. With Kendrick, it's like they're never the same. They're all different. They all kind of have a theme, but they all play into who he is. It's like we thought Good Kid, Mad City was him writing his autobiography. This whole catalog is this man's biography. And he's just writing it every time, but it's masked as a bop or a boom bap track or, you know what I'm saying, or a West Coast joint. And with that being said, I will also say, like, when we look at the drop, one of the things I analyzed in my, I guess, impressions video, or, my reaction video, was the fact that earlier this week, J. Cole had his 100 gigs for your head top. And he put out a rundown of, yo, we're going to do this way. We're going to release this, content. We're going to build up. What Drake was doing, we're going to remind you why you like J. Cole. Remind you of who he was.
Yeah.
The first mixtape is now available on all your streaming platforms. But guess what? It became available after this dropped, and nobody cared anymore. So again, with Kendrick, he didn't have to even say Jermaine this time. He just said, "Oh, you doing that?" I get the feeling Kendrick is sitting in front of mad music and buttons and shit where he's like, "Go ahead, nigga. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead." Super Bowl. 100 for your head top. Super Bowl commercial. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
you take the Ovi hole picture. Okay, the party's over with these black airs. Boom, viral. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Nah, I was just gonna say it's work.
Yeah,
It's just work. Like I'm not diminishing J. Cole's work. Okay, let me remind you of why you like me in the first place.
Right.
But it's like, yo, this dude is messing that up. Cause it's like, yo, what have you done for me lately? Like, we want to, yo, give us the newness. Like, give us, you know what I mean? Like, yo, we shouldn't even need that. Like, Mike Delete Later should be holding us over. Why we gotta do 100 gigs to hit your head top, and like that should be holding us over, right? Like,
yeah.
If I think for some folks it does. I don't
It
know.
is Grammy dominated, right?
Yeah, I think let me ease up. Let me back. I think folks got strategies. J. Cole has a strategy, and like you said, the strategy. Hey, let me show you all, remind you all. Let's take a journey back. I'm gonna, but it's. I mean, yo, man, it's another MC to compare to. That's just what it is. Hip hop. We're gonna do this whole your marketing and promotion. What Vegas say? Your gimmicks, your marketing and promotion. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we gonna do this whole rollout of yo, why you like me and all of that. And I'm just gonna drop a song, Heart Part 6. One song on my new project that'll give you all of that.
One song over a beat that will give you the feels, but it's also tied to the lyrics and the theme of this series. It just it's crazy because when J. Cole popped out before, everybody tore including me, everybody was tearing him down because of what he said it would be, and if I had a loss, and again, and this is worse. This is a whole album. It was already bad enough that when Drake and J. Cole would pop out and say something or do something, and you'll see in the comment section somebody quoting a Kendrick lyric from one of his songs, and it would fit to a T. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do this, Port Antonio, somebody like, I thought it was weird when I saw them hugging and kissing on stage, and it's just like, it just negates everything they trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like Drake does the video, you know what I'm saying, with the hoodies on and in the mall, and dudes are online like, oh, the OVOs are in the mall, grown ass OVOs in the mall. You know what I'm saying? He hanging out in the mall, like looking for the minors. Like it's like they can't do nothing. It's kind of like I was gonna say tweeted, rest in peace, Twitter. I don't have a Twitter no more. But I posted every time Jermaine try to just, all right, it's clear. He outside. Okay, boom. Here y'all go. 100 gigs for your head top. Remember this coming out the fall off, and Kendrick just drops, and everybody just moves to the side. Now, granted, there's some obviously you can listen to both, but it almost brings everything back. The apology, the bad moves, the things he said, and the sandals on the beach is my gripe, like the sandals and socks on the beach. Like, fam, what are you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? You trying to be so whatever, but at the end of the day, it's crazy because as much as the battle was a thing that happened and we said what we said and we had our fun with it then and there, and Kendrick's giving us some great content to go over, it just brings it all back up again. Whether Drake says something that makes people go back there, or Kendrick just makes a statement in this way, even though Drake knew it was going to happen. I just find it interesting that he dropped around this time, and I think the only name was Ice Cube dropping an album, which is no comparison. But I will say this: 2024 was the West Coast. West Coast is back. like
They back.
big time.
They back. Yeah, they back.
Young, old, Dog Pound album is in my top 5 of the year. I played that throughout the summer. But then you had Blue, Schoolboy Q, obviously. Well, now you have Kendrick. You had DJ Quick compilation. Like you had all these West Coast joints that was just rocking and taking over. And it's like Kendrick just capped it off, even though Snoop and Dre about to drop in December. Is like anybody saying anything other than 2024 belong to the West Coast is lying to themselves.
Yeah, you lying. You lying. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because now you got Young Thug home. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. We'll see. But you're right. Definitely for 2024, the West Coast was on the money, and it's hip hop. Like now, mind you, you know they got some of the, you know, the stuff that people wouldn't probably dig, wouldn't like,
Right.
you know, but they're the people that are in the forefront. You know what I mean? They are carrying it, and it's good music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think Vince Staples, right? Then you got Tyler the Creator too. So
Tyler the Creator, right? like hold up, this shorty posted. I don't think I have it in front of me. This shorty posted something that had like all the albums from the West Coast that dropped, and she didn't even have. Here it is, right here. So she had Kendrick, she had Tyler up here, she had Larry June, she had Absol, Blue in Exile, Anderson .Paak, Acknowledge, forgot about that joint, Vince Staples. But, you know, Dog Pound's not here. A couple of West Coast joints that will wind up on a number of people's best of the year. And this is just like another statement. And he, you know, he obviously with the music, with some of the lyrics, he bigs up California big time and points out, you know, those people who were haters. And I just find it interesting because I know we're going to go away from this album, hear more things. Somebody going to figure out the whole puzzle, you know, like, yo, when he's sitting on, I don't know, the piano or whatever that is in the back bobbing, that's actually this picture of Louis Armstrong at the rally. Like, you're gonna be like, what? And like, what's the name of the rally? GNX. They're like, what? You know what I'm saying? And even though there's some people who hate that, I just find it funny because people like it when Marvel do it all the time. You watch Marvel shows, that's content creators can just be like, okay, this episode, like that mask in the back over there is. So I just think it's dope for Kendrick to think about, you know, the whole Easter egg hunting and keep people chasing the carrot till he's done to go off into the sunset or back in the Batcave. But yeah, man, there y'all have it. What do y'all think about Kendrick Lamar's brand new album, GNX? Available now for you to stream and check out yourself. Shout out to genius.com if you want to just read the lyrics, because I know for some people it's tough to follow the lyrics of any rapper, let alone a rapper, again, who can sound like he's just talking about a different subject, like Gloria, when he's clearly talking about something else, and you got to line up the metaphors. What do you think? Are you a Kendrick Lamar fan? Is this album so-so? Is it number one for you? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Man, for one, good looking coming through. Tell people where they can follow you on social media, and you know, and some of the things you're working with or working on in the film industry stuff.
Yeah, at that's Ock on IG. That's where you can find me at. If you want to check out some of my work as far as filmmaking, you can check out www.97media.org. If you want to check out, some of my work or some of my team's work. Yeah, man, I'm just writing the next film, man, and that daggone Reincarnated, man, I'm like, damn, this dude is in my damn head because I have a similar theme that I'm writing for my next film, but it's all good. I'm gonna just go ahead and get to work. But yeah, man, I'm just writing. But aside from that, I've been on all these hip hop calls. I've
Yeah.
actually taken a break from writing and been talking about hip hop. You know what I mean? All daggone week. So now I'll get back to work. But yeah, man, that's all, man. Get back to writing.
All right, well, y'all know what it is. You can follow me on any streaming platform at Vegas World INC, except for Twitter, because I'm not on Twitter no more, but I am on Blue Sky, so just look me up there and check out the other content on the channel. Got a great new interview with the author of the new De La Soul book. We know what De La said. Watch the interview, judge for yourself. I know we want to believe our heroes, and I'm not saying they lying. I'm a big fan as well, but at the end of the day, there's two sides to a story. And even though my interview is not about what transpired after, because we did the recording of the interview before then, it does give you insight into what the book was about and the author's intentions with the book. And trust me, they're no different from you as a fan. You just got to watch them speak and judge for yourself. So subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hit that like button, comment, because I respond. But most importantly, share it with people you know enjoy this kind of content. Until next time, y'all, we are not critics. We are fans. Peace.